You're listening to the Back Porch Talk podcast. Danny and Jason had many discussions and debates on the back porch while making pivotal investment moves with assets. That's right, with trading cards. They welcome you to the back porch and right into those discussions about current sports news with a fresh and unique twist. So come on and join us. Welcome to the Back Porch Talk podcast. I'm your co-host, Jason.
Your co-host, Danny.
And fans, this is our initial reaction to the elimination of the then defending champions, Milwaukee Bucks, where they dropped the game here, game 7 to the Boston Celtics, and where the Boston Celtics won 109-81. And Boston Celtics move on, Danny. They move on to face the Miami Heat. So just wanted to get our initial reactions to the Milwaukee Bucks season, and more importantly, really this series. Danny, I need to start off by saying what a valiant effort by Giannis and Jrue Holiday. Giannis in particular, and where he has done something that no other NBA player has done. I remember seeing a stat saying that he scored over 200 points, 100 rebounds, and 50 assists or something like that. Something that no NBA player has ever done. But more importantly, man, he carried the Milwaukee Bucks in this series. With the injury to Chris Middleton, obviously Giannis had to step up, and he did so. Jrue Holiday stepped up, and for the most part, he did. I think Giannis just kind of ran out of a little gas in the tank there in the second half of Game 7. Let me just be real, Danny. Okay, so this is the initial reaction. Hey, man, Bud went ahead and lost this series for us, man. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Bud done lost this series, okay? I think with the drop coverage defense, you have to be able to, in my opinion, you have to be able to make adjustments on the fly with that. If you have a player on fire shooting threes, you make adjustments.
Yep.
Realizing that your squad is struggling scoring and has struggled scoring for the past couple of games, you got to make some kind of adjustments. I would have made some kind of adjustment there with this drop coverage defense. I understand that Brook, he can't get out. He can't get out to the shooters and everything. And you're gambling at that point. We'll let Grant Williams go ahead and beat us. Well, Grant Williams, he was like a 41% three-point shooter. I mean, come on, man. But he's the lesser evil, if you will. So, okay. But at the same token, you still got to make some form of adjustment at this point in time, Danny.
Yep.
Not only that, Danny. Not only would I have made an adjustment defensively, but damn it, I would have made an adjustment offensively too. What I mean by that, Grayson Allen. Let me give you damn stats on Grayson Allen over the past few games, basically the entire series. In game 1, okay, Grayson did pretty okay. 11 points, 4 for 8 from the field, 3 from 6 from three-point land. But ever since that game 1, 5 points, 0 points, 7 points, 8 points, 3 points, 1 point yesterday. Not only that, Danny, but when you think about Grayson Allen, in this series, he was 5 for 24 from three-point land, which equates to 20.8%. You mean tell me you couldn't go ahead and get another guard to come off the bench who can give us some three-point shooting to space the floor, but to give us some kind of immediate impact in which we need? We needed scoring. Why not go ahead and pull in the likes of, man, Javon Carter was missed. I don't know why the hell you brought in George Hill. No, I do know why you brought in George Hill. You brought in George Hill because you relied upon George Hill. You have a relationship with George Hill from the Atlanta Hawks days. George Hill didn't give us nothing. George Hill did. Well, let me clarify. George Hill did give us some ball handling to give Drew Holiday a blow here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But what did George Hill do in this series? He played 11 minutes yesterday, 0 points. Gave us a couple rebounds. Game 6, 0 points. He shot 3 times. Oh, let me clarify here. Yesterday in game 7, he didn't even shoot. Game 6, he shot 3 times, 0 points. Game 5, pivotal game, played 13 minutes, 0 points, didn't even shoot. Game 4, played 23 minutes, 5 points, shot once. Got a 3-pointer, must have got fouled, got on the free throw line. Game 3, 0 points, played 11 minutes, shot once. Games 1 and 2, he didn't even play because Javon Carter played. I don't know why you decided, Coach Bud, to go with George Hill here. This, to me, was a huge mistake. Nothing against George Hill, but George Hill was out for approximately 1 month for abdominal, from an abdominal injury perspective. Mm-hmm. So why would you want to bring him in after seeing what Javon Carter was actually doing? I mean, Javon Carter could actually play some defense. Javon Carter, in my opinion, was the player we should have put in to give us some kind of spark defensively, to give us some kind of spark even offensively. So I think we made a mistake there. Let me just add to this too, Danny. I'm just going to pile on, man, because I'm a little frustrated here. Not only that, but even if this is, say, Javon Carter wasn't the player, Grayson Allen show wasn't the player, because Grayson Allen was just completely off and they just got up in him. Mm-hmm. Who else could we have brought off the bench? Oh, what about Jordan Nora? He's instant offense. Mm-hmm. He is instant offense. We could have went ahead and brought in Jordan Nora to give us some form of offense, to give us some form of threat at the 3-point line that we weren't getting from Grayson Allen. Oh, this is the same Grayson Allen that went ahead and signed an extension with the Milwaukee Bucks, where I think a contract for worth up to $18 million, $19-20 million for 2 years. So we have Grayson Allen for next year and a year after, 2023-24. So we have that contract now in our books. Mm-hmm. Not unless we decided to trade. So there are so many baffling lineup moves here that I'm just like, what in the world? And oh, by the way, we went ahead and got Serge Ibaka. Didn't play him at all this series. I think we could have used Serge Ibaka, Danny. I think we could have used Serge Ibaka from a pick and pop perspective. He can give us a mid-range jumper there, here or there, just to give maybe Brook a blow. And it still be kind of a threat there. And not only that, Danny, and we mentioned this in the previous podcast, but I don't know why you decided to go with a very small lineup against another small lineup where your advantage is having your big. So you could have used Serge Ibaka. You could have you went ahead and used Bobby. You still could have went ahead and used Giannis. Rotations were just completely off. And I'm hearing now that one of the things that the Bucks can do is revamp their bench. We had a bench, but just decided not to use it. Mm-hmm. So I'm just frustrated because I think we had an opportunity here to get past this round, maybe wait for Chris Middleton to come back.
Yep.
And possibly advance. So I don't know, Danny. This is just completely a baffling move. What say you?
To the Serge Ibaka point, I think that he may have been a better option on closing out yesterday, for example, with Grant Williams. I'm not sure because you didn't get to see him, so you don't know how he could move. But I think it would have just been a different change of pace. He's similar to Al Horford, if you think about it. So he could have moved with Al Horford. At least it would have gave him something, a different look. And he hit that 18-footer. That one, I'm still questioning on what the reason was why he didn't play him. Agree on Javon Carter. I think at least you could have gave him an option. And Nora was the other one I was thinking, especially yesterday when it was like 68-55 in the third quarter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they couldn't hit a shot.
Come on, man.
I'm like, why not give him a shot? Just put him in and you never know, right? And you go on a run.
Come on, man.
Ultimately, man, I know Coach Bud had his hands on this, but you got to hit shots. And they didn't hit shots. And Boston did. And there's a disparity over the series where Boston hit like 50 plus more 3-pointers than the Bucks in this series. 50.
You can't win a series like that, man.
No. And Boston was giving them opportunities to come back in game 6.
Most
game
definitely.
6 and game 7, where
definitely
they just couldn't knock the shots down. And Giannis, he wore down. And, the ground, everyone was pounding on him. So it took its toll on him. And Middleton was definitely missed. And Portis got into foul trouble yesterday. It was just once that Boston went on that run in the second quarter, when they took the lead, I think it was 32-30 or whatever the case may be. After that, they just couldn't get into a rhythm. I'm very curious how they approach the offseason because Middleton's there. I believe they win the series.
Oh, definitely. I think they.
So you don't want to go. Yeah, my point is you don't want to go rogue in the offseason where you have the pieces there. It's just you're missing one of your key pieces to advance, right? So I'm curious how they play this and navigate it, and how they, if they move somebody and bring a different piece in. But all in all, they should have closed this out in game 6.
Yeah. They had
a golden opportunity at home.
And so speaking of all season, the Bucks got some decisions to make here. Okay. So of course we would have the big three, Giannis, Chris, and Drew. We have them locked up contractually. We also have Brook locked up contractually as well. Pat Connaughton has a player option at $5.7 million. Bobby Portis has a player option like at $4.5 million. I mentioned earlier that we have Grayson at $9.6 million, George Hill at $4 million. Wesley Matthews is not on a contract. Thanasis is on a player option at $1.8 million. Jordan Nora is not on contract. Javon Carter, not on contract. Danny, there's some decisions to be made here. Buy some players, some critical players here. Pat Connaughton, I think, is a critical piece. And I absolutely love the relationship and the friendship that Pat Connaughton and Bobby Portis has. I think, honestly, that stems from the championship run. I would never, ever forget this, and where they were being interviewed and the question was asked about them drinking, and they just looked at each other and started laughing. I was like, man, that is a great friendship right there.
Yeah.
But they're both on player options. I'm interested to see what happens with that. Pat Connaughton has a construction business. He's doing a lot of construction in the Milwaukee area.
Yes, he is.
And so I'm really intrigued in terms of what's going to happen there. Can I see the Bucks actually? I don't know how that would work, Danny. I mean, I know it's a player option. I don't know if he could turn down that player option and Bucks actually work out a deal with them. I think the Bucks need to work out a deal with Pat Connaughton. He's that critical of a piece. Same thing with Bobby Portis. Now, For those who say about the luxury tax and everything, hey man, look, I think we need to keep this crew intact because we're really right there.
Mm-hmm.
We're really right there when you think about it.
You're an MCL away.
Exactly. But do you go out and probably look at some younger players? See, here's the thing, Dan. Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Dante DiVincenzo, did we miss him in this series in place of Grayson Allen?
It's hard to say, man. It's very hard. The difference is Grayson Allen couldn't hit any shots.
Couldn't hit no shots.
Who's to say Dante would have either, right? Because it was like it wasn't just Grayson Allen. It was like the whole team fell under this spell where they just couldn't shoot.
But let me say, Grayson was just off the entire series.
Yeah.
To me, Dante, I think, would have been able to slash the cup a little bit better.
Oh, he's more athletic.
He's more athletic.
More athletic. But you gotta look at Grayson Allen did save the Bucks in that Bulls series.
True enough.
So the cards weren't in his favor.
True enough.
He couldn't hit anything. So yeah, Dante and Grayson Allen are that. Yeah, Dante has more athletic ability.
Yeah.
He can get to the rim. He can create.
He can defend better.
Yeah, I would say that.
And for those fans, Dante DiVincenzo, we actually drafted him. Came out of Villanova.
Mm-hmm.
I called that he was going to be drafted by the Bucks. He was a favorite of mine. Was traded for an insurance policy, that being Serge Ibaka. He was in a 3-team trade where Dante went to the Sacramento Kings, Marvin Bagley went to the Pistons, and Serge Ibaka came to the Bucks. And I think that was because we were trying to figure out about Brook and his back. And so we needed an insurance policy just in case. So we sacrificed Dante to get that insurance policy, if you will. So that's kind of where we stand. Do you feel that we already indicated that the Bucks are right there with MCL spraying away, if you will, with the way that the Eastern Conference is shaping up, with the way that how people got called out by the Brooklyn Nets GM about being more available, i.e. Kyrie Irving. Brooklyn's going to have, something to say about it next year. Boston's going to have something to say about it next year. Miami's going to have something to say about it next year. You got a lot going on in the Eastern Conference, man. So I think you got to keep this crew intact and pay the luxury tax on it. Maybe get a couple of younger pieces.
Yep.
Some more agile defenders, someone who can knock down some threes, man, who got some playoff pressure, who's battle tested. I think that's what we need.
Mm-hmm.
Because Grayson Allen ain't it. Hell, I would even almost go ahead and trade Grayson Allen, Danny.
I don't know who's going to take that contract. That's the problem.
I would say look out for a mid-year trade.
Mm-hmm.
I can see something like that possibly happening because I don't think the Bucks should rely upon Grayson Allen to perform in the playoffs.
No, he should be a bench player.
He should be a bench player, definitely. Yep. Yeah.
Hell, you can get one of those wings from the Clippers, man. They got like 15 of them. They're like 6'8". The whole team is like 6'8", wing 3-and-D dudes.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. That and
so like someone like a Covington or someone like that would be a nice piece.
Be a very nice piece.
I don't think they would pay for him, but I'm just saying someone like that.
Yeah, I can see that.
They're going to need a big man as well, a backup.
That depends. Yeah, I would agree with you. They're going to need a backup big man. I agree with you on that.
Because Brook is not young either. So
nope.
He's not old, but
they got Brook at 34.
Back issues and things like that, you need someone there as an insurance policy.
The Dallas Mavericks really handled the Phoenix Suns. Surprisingly, I didn't see this coming, Danny. The final score is not indicative of what happened.
Not at all.
I remember seeing a 46-point spread. And I was like, man, what in the entire world happened here?
I was like, man, I hope Phoenix can get over 30 because they were at 27 in the third quarter for a couple minutes. And then finally they started hitting some shots. I was like, man, Doncic and those dudes. It's going to be a good series with Golden State and Dallas.
I believe so, too.
I think so, man. Doncic was ice water yesterday along with his supporting cast. So they played tough defense. Your boy J Kidd getting them to the Western Conference Finals. And this will be a great matchup, man. It's going to be the new kid on the block versus, the veteran team, the championship pedigree. And we'll see because, truth be told, Golden State keep turning the ball over like they are. They might get beat because they are very loose with that ball.
That's Steph. He's always been loose with the ball,
man.
Always
every game. They throw all these crazy wild passes, and I think it was game 6. They had 4 turnovers in a row in the third quarter. Like, what's going on, man? So they have to be careful with the ball. Otherwise, Dallas can sneak up on them and steal that series.
And let me just say this too, Danny. So Phoenix Suns lost 123-90 against the Mavericks. Let's just say that at halftime, the score was 57-27. They had these cats down by 30 at halftime. And I was like, man, I can't believe what I'm watching. So I just decided just to keep watching because I started laughing. I was like, I can't believe what I'm watching. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this in the NBA in a game 7.
And the team at home was the one getting blown out.
Come on, man. Let me ask you this, Danny. Do you think this is Chris Paul's last great opportunity of getting a title?
It depends on Ayton. If Ayton stays and they keep, because they have most of their team back next year. Besides, Ayton is the key free agent.
Mm-hmm.
If Ayton stays, I think they have a good shot at it. There's another thing. They set their team record in wins, and they're dinking around in this series where they should have put the nail in the coffin a couple games.
Mm-hmm.
It came back to bite them. Because I thought for sure they were on their way once they had this coming home. Yeah. So I think they're still in good shape as long as they get Ayton back. If Ayton doesn't come back, then I don't know.
I'm going to disagree with you, man. Even if Ayton comes back, I think this is his last, Chris Paul's last good time, because you have a whole lot more players coming back. You got Kawhi coming back. You got PG coming back. Paul George coming back. Yeah. And then you have the likes of Minnesota starting to feel themselves. And then you still got Memphis on the rise.
Yep.
And I think the blueprint is out on CP3, thanks to our Milwaukee Bucks last year in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a combination of all that, Danny, I think this was his last great chance of getting a title.
I still think he has one more year, because if you look at the teams you named, Timberwolves, what are they going to do with Cat? So they have, and they're still young yet. Mm-hmm. So I think they're on an upward trajectory, but they're still not they still need some more chops yet. I think another year, and then the following year, I think they're on their way if they keep the team together.
But saying that, let me
go ahead.
Let me say this: you gotta go multiple rounds with different teams, and I think round by round, it's gonna wear Chris Paul out. It's gonna wear him out, man. And he started to, I guess they're saying he was limping after game 7, quad injury or what have you. Hey, man, CP3 always hurt, man, in the playoffs.
Oh, he always hurt. They'll need another backup guard for him.
They're going to have a backup guard. I'm to a point now saying, is it time to put CP3 not necessarily on the bench, but he's like the third person. He can't be the second go-to person no more.
That's why I'm saying they need Ayton. They need Ayton bad, and then they need a backup point guard because Cameron Payne, I think he's a free agent if I'm not mistaken. So they need someone in there that can give them solid minutes. Javon Carter was that dude for him. So maybe he comes back. But and then I look at Memphis. I think Memphis will be there. Pending. This is all pending free agency and what happens there. If they stay as they are, they got a taste of it now, and they have that grit that they can get there. Clippers, I'm not worried about. I can't worry about the Clippers because Paul George hasn't done it.
Yeah. No.
He hasn't done it. Even if they have Kawhi.
And I think Utah's going to blow things up there.
Yeah. So that's why I still think they have a shot if they have Ayton there, just because they've been through and they know what it takes. But if they don't have Ayton, then they're not doing it. And then you got the other team I would be worried about is Denver on the low.
Yeah, I agree there.
If they're healthy.
I agree there.
If they're healthy.
And here's the thing, too. With Dallas's success, there were rumors about Rudy Gobert possibly going to Dallas Mavericks. After what we're witnessing, I don't necessarily see a Rudy Gobert going to Dallas any longer. I think with the success of the Dallas Mavericks, I think that scenario is gone now.
Yeah, because they're spreading the floor for Doncic.
Spreading the floor, yeah. So
Bertans and Kleber, they're all bigs, but they're sitting on the perimeter. You don't need Rudy Gobert because that's where Doncic does his magic is in that lane.
Exactly.
So you got Gobert sitting in there. Yeah, and Dallas. I can't forget Dallas. Obviously, they just beat the Suns. So with Doncic there, I think they'll be straight. So yeah, no, I think Phoenix, they need Ayton. They get him back, then they'll be in the fold at least.
Yep. Thank you for joining us at Back Porch Talk Podcast. You can also join us on Twitter by tweeting us at @back_podcast. For more information, you can go to our website, which is backporchtalkpodcast.com. You can also email us at backporchtalkpodcast@gmail.com. Again, thank you for joining us, and remember that there's enough hate in the world, so go ahead and spread a little love.